Hello, this is Adrian with CLIPitc software. I just wanted to provide a quick disclaimer before we start the video that the information you see on the screen is not real, it is not legitimate. The names, the addresses, phone numbers, emails, and so on are not legitimate. They're completely made up 100%. Thank you again for watching this video. I hope it helps out. Let us know if you have any questions. Have a good day and take care. Bye.
All right, well, let's get started. We are going to kind of cover some of the ground I covered yesterday just because I think I was a little disorganized. But kind of as by way of general comment, we're going to look at two things today. We're going to look at the scheduling aspect because there are a couple of options for scheduling snow removal type services. And we're also going to look at pricing options. This isn't going to be exhaustive, and I appreciate I did get an email yesterday with some specific questions. We may end up getting to those tomorrow. Then if we still have some time, we'll begin looking at the app today. So we'll be looking at how to schedule snow removal type services and then also pricing them out. I have everyone on mute, but you should be able to chat. So if you do have a question, you can put in the chat. I've got that open on one of my many monitors, and so I will just send a message so you'll see what the chat looks like. And then you can just contribute to it if you have questions that come up. So you should be seeing somewhere in your screen related to Zoom a little blinky light, perhaps, if there wasn't an actual pop-up for that. Okay, so I've got some notes here. So snow, we're going to look at scheduling. And there are a couple of options here. Date-driven scheduling, and these are some of the customers I've got with that set up, and then zone scheduling, which is everybody else. Okay, so we're going to come back here. We're going to look at how you set up the scheduling for if you do date-driven. And we'll go to Catalani as an example of this. So here's Catalani. And we come over here. He's under charge by job. And we go to snow plowing. Okay. Now, we talked briefly yesterday, and we'll talk more about it in a few moments, but you've got different scheduling types available. Automatic means that once the job occurs, it automatically reschedules based on the settings you have here. And a couple of key settings would be the 999, and then make it at least one day between jobs. So this is how you would set it up for snow removal. Now, it may not snow on the 2nd. Well, this is in the system just kind of sitting there as the season progresses. And whenever you refresh the workbank or do get work for a date after the 2nd, these jobs are going to show up. You also have it assigned, in this case, to a high crew number, meaning that after the 2nd here, when you're doing work, maybe fall cleanups and some other activities, maybe Christmas lighting, you might manage that in CLIPitc, and you do get work for those later days after the 2nd, these will be in the background, these snow removal jobs, based on this earlier date and based on the crew assignment. And you can pretty well ignore them. So when you are in daily, we'll open this in a new tab. So when you are in daily, I'll remove this. You would be able to say get work for, later this month. We'll go, I don't know what I've got in here, so I'm not going to bother. But once you're past the 2nd, then all your snow removal jobs are there to be used as needed. So we'll do get work here. So So these are the jobs that show up. I guess we also have another couple of customers who have date-driven. This Clark Kent job is one of them. And then you pull them up here, and you would go in and you'd say print route sheets. And again, your workbank may be loaded with lots of stuff. So we'll just come in here and we'll go to November 2022. Go to the second, crew 53. And so here's the schedule you could hand out if you're using paper for your guys. And those have the jobs. And then when you go to record work, again under daily, record work. And I'll just record a few times here. I assume that you know this process from working in Clip with other types of services, but just in case. And you can change the date here to the second and save it. All right, now these other ones I'm just going to save or mark as done. If you don't record times, that's how you would do this. And then I want everyone to be on the second. So replace date. And then I click again and I hit finalize selected. So now the jobs have been recorded and posted, they're done. And then the next time it snows, let's say it snows November 16th. So you come to get work and you refresh for November 16th. And now here's some leaf cleanups are showing up as well. If I come down to crew 53, here we've got the snow plowing again. And that's how you would manage it. So it just whenever you need to, you can give it a date and it'll show up. Even though this was rescheduled for the day after we did it on the 2nd, it will show up again. Now, likewise, let's say that those crews went back to the same job a second time that same day. Well, you would record it once with the first visits, then you'd refresh for the third because that's how they were rescheduled, and record them a second time and save them for the second because that will record then that second visit. That's much more easily managed in the app, as we will see in a bit. Okay, so I'm going to go back out of here because I don't want to see all this stuff, these leaf cleanups. So we come back here. So I refresh for the third, and there those jobs are. So again, to quickly recap, within the job itself for snow plowing, you assign it to the crew, and you give it a next visit date, and you make it at least one day between jobs. And then you should be able to manage that day after day throughout the season if you choose to. Okay, the second way, if we look back at our notes here, is zone. And this is what we recommend here. And all the other ones I have set up are zones. So the zone scheduling, and we'll go to a different customer. We'll go to Kreider. Oops, kicking me out. And tomorrow we'll look at billing too. I've had to download a new version of QuickBooks, so I'm still getting that set up. But we'll see that, because one thing nice about CLIPitc, it really allows you to easily bill right after a snow event, so you don't have to wait till the end of the month or fiddle with mid-month billing. Okay, so we go to Kreider and snow plowing. Okay, and he's assigned to crew 50. All right, so this is how the zone schedule looks. So you have zone selected of the schedule type, and you'd put 999 in here. The zone status of pending means this is not actually on the schedule yet. When you activate this job, it will appear. And when you then the way to activate the jobs, so we're here under daily, we've refreshed for the 3rd, and now I want to activate zone jobs. And you've got these different choices you can do. So one is you can do it based on the crew. So you go through and check off the different crews that would have snow related work that you want to start doing. You can also choose it by the job. So in this case, we've got some snow plowing options here. We're going to choose it do it by the crew. As I mentioned yesterday, you can also set up geographic zones here. This is, again, probably more relevant for turf care applications than it may be for snow removal. But if you do have distinct areas, some of which get snow and some don't. For instance, my daughter moved to Buffalo, New York recently from San Diego, of all places. And she was talking to her coworkers, and she said in Buffalo, the north part might get a foot of snow and the southern part might get a dusting of snow. If you're in a situation like that where you can anticipate one area getting hit harder than another, then you might want to set those up here so you can then focus on a particular geographic area. Okay, so we're going to do activate here. It's spinning. Now this is telling me that some of these have service notifications that need to be sent. Yeah, I'm going to send one. I'll just see what it looks like when it comes to me, if it's worth sharing. So I'm going to say yes. Okay, now we went from having those 4 jobs on the list, the ones that were date driven down here for crew 53, to the zone jobs here. So that gives us all the jobs that are on the schedule by zones. Now, when you can go through and record these, and if you have to go back to some of the properties, if you do go back a second time, you just reactivate the zone to populate them on the schedule again. All right, so that covers the 2 scheduling schemes, the date driven down here, and then the zone driven, which are activated through the activate zone jobs function. Okay, now we're going to go on to cover what I kind of did in a haphazard manner, pricing. So we've got basically different types of pricing per push, and Clark Kent's an example of that we'll look at in a bit. And then we have per inch pricing, and there are 3 ways to manage that. We'll look at each of those individually. So per push is pretty easy. That's basically what you do for if you have mowing, if you do landscaping. So we're going to come down to find customer, come into Kent, and it's Clark Kent with double asterisks. Come on, Clark. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we go to jobs here, and we go to charge by job. And there's the snow plowing service and the charge. Again, and this is actually set up as an automatic. So this would be billed out every time it's done. So that's very straightforward. It's just one flat rate you do for each visit for him. Now we get into a little bit more complicated when we look at the per inch. And we're going to look at the 3 ways to do that. So we got one way is to set up individual jobs. So let's take a look at Blaine here. So we go back to customers. And here's Nick Blaine. Let me look at it through this view. So you've got this edit jobs down here, which is somewhat recent addition. So here we have snow plowing 0 to 3, 3 to 6, and 6 to 9. And they're all zone jobs. So we have the different price points for the different number of inches. So this is how you would manage it. Now, we'll talk in a moment about how do you, we'll just talk about it now. So how do you communicate this to the crew? Well, they're all three are going to be on the route sheet. So if you do go to then back here to daily, and we go to print route sheets, and we're printing for the 3rd and crew 50. When your crew goes out, they'll see here then the different levels, and they can mark off what they actually did with the start and stop times here. Now, I'm not sure if in your situation the crews determine how many inches or if that's a decision the office made. But once this comes back, so the work is done, then the office will go to the record work section, and we'll look again at crew 50 here. So we come to record work, and we want just crew 50. And through the 3rd. So here in the office, you can choose which ones you want to record. And if you know that it was 6 to 9, you could do, I didn't set this up quite as smoothly as I might. So we do 3. So here now are, okay, why isn't it? 6 to 9. Sorry. Yeah. So here's if it's 3 to 6, you've got the 3 to 6 ones on here. If it was 0 to 3, you could just do 0, and that will just bring up the 3 that were 0 to 3. Unfortunately, 3 is on 2 different jobs, and 6 are on 2 different jobs. So if you could do 9 if it's 9 inches, and then you just record what was actually done for that. So that's how you can manage it if you have the different jobs, the different levels, 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, set up as individual jobs within the customer. So all the jobs will go on the schedule and be on the route sheet or in the app. And then all of the jobs are available to record, and there are ways to filter so you're not looking at all of them each time, but you can narrow the results. The drawback to this is that some of you have hundreds of snow customers, and with maybe 4, 5, 6 potentially different services under each one or different ways of billing. And that would create a massive list that could then make recording it this way less manageable. So that's kind of the drawback of these, is by doing it this way, the recording process, if it's done in the office, can be a little more convoluted for that. All right, so let's then look at this. That's how doing it per inch. Another way is by setting up the different per inch ranges as materials. So we'll come back here and we'll just refresh. I think we looked at this yesterday. So to set it up as materials, you go to customize and you have a material section here, and then you set up the materials you want for the different inches. I think yesterday we were also talking about setting up, if you use a Bobcat or something, you might have that set up in here. So then these jobs or these materials are set up, and then you can, if you do this across the board, you can then go into the pattern for snow under pattern jobs. Oh, snow, where are you? Okay, so here's snow plowing. So you could go into the pattern and you could add the materials here if you're going to do it for everybody. And then you can update the jobs for the customers with the materials. So this is one way you can set it up. The other way you can set it up is we can go into a customer again. So we'll go back to, we'll go to Kreider. And then within the customer, if the materials haven't already populated when you copied the pattern over, you go in here and you can add the material. And this allows you to edit, so you can do the different price points. So for Kreider, 1 to 3 inches is going to be $50 for him. And you're going to have the transfer and charge this price, because this is how he's actually being billed. You'll notice in the charge per job for him, there's nothing is listed, because you're not billing based on this amount. You're billing based on what the price is down here in the materials. So that's how you would set up the customer. And now for recording work, we'll come back out of here. We'll go to daily, record work. And I want to update this. So here's Kreider. So you get the report back. If this isn't being recorded in the app, you would come here, hit the pencil, mark that it was done, do the times. Oh, that's interesting. I have a charge in here. And we have to go back and check to see if I've got 2 jobs set up within him. And then you can come here to adjust. Adjust means there's a material associated. So I click adjust. And here are the snows. So I can hit edit here. Oh, you know what? I know what happened. I set the quantity at 1 when it should have been 0. So live and learn. Yeah, because it came over as if it was already charging that material. So then I'm going to come in here. So if you set it up properly at 0 rather than 1, then you would avoid those steps. But what you do is all these would be at 0. So you just come into the one you want. So you did edit 3 to 4. Put a 1 in here, save it, close, and then so now we come back down to Kreider, and it did not update. Well, we'll look at this when we do. Well, let me look at it now, because I want to know if I need to redo this in a clearer way. So we're going to finalize this for the 3rd. So I hit finalize selected. And now, just to chase a rabbit, I'm going to come over here to QuickBooks. And we got the 3rd was the date of the event. I come to generate, edit individual invoices. Here's Kreider snow plowing. So here it is showing a 0. And then we hit generate. Now I'm not going to actually kick it over to QuickBooks, but if I come down here, we can see what the bill will look like, or what the information looks like that goes to QuickBooks. Okay, so see, here's the job snow plowing, and there's a material, and that's where the price is, 3 to 4 inches for that. So that's how it would appear on the invoice for the customer to see. There'd be 2 line items, and this AZ sales tax is from my QuickBooks. I've got to get set up more properly. But in any event, this is the how it would look if you charge them as a material. All right, so let's kind of backtrack a couple of steps. So part of my bad was putting a 1 in here when it should be a 0, because the decision whether one of these levels was done is not made now, it's made at the actual time of the event. Well, let me just Now, there are some advantages to tracking it by material versus tracking it by individual jobs. One of which is you'll have a shorter list in your get work and record work, because you'll just have snow plowing the service there with these distinctions behind the scenes, as it were, under materials. All right, now I'm going to push this back onto the schedule because I want to look and see how it shows up now. Okay, so we come back here and we go to daily and record work. And if you are working a long list, you can type in information. Yeah, so now the chart says 0 because those materials are all set to 0. Okay, so to recap, if you want to set up your services or the different price points as different types of materials used loosely, you would start by going to Customize, going to the Material section, creating those different levels, price points like we have here. Then you can go to the pattern job if you want to, if this is going to be done across the board. You go to pattern jobs, go to snow plowing, edit, and then under material within the pattern, you add the services here. So add material, we'll come do the snow 3 to 4, and then we'll put zeros in here to begin with so we don't make that mistake down the line. Then hit add materials, close. So those materials are now added. I'm going to edit this one to clean it up. And as you can see, setting things up in Clip, but like in most software programs, it's kind of a back and forth thing. You see something that needs to be fixed, so you fix it, and then you can do changes. So close. And then we could click this and hit update all jobs. So we'll see if that gets, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so and then you go to the customer. So here we are at Kreider, we're in snow plowing. If the materials aren't there already, you add them here, again with zeros. Then when you go to record work, you go into the account, and I won't record the times. And it doesn't matter whether you record the times first or whether you do it while you're recording the times, but you come to adjust to then select what actually was done. Okay, so that's a recap on how to do different inches. Okay, by using material, it shows a $0 amount, giving you a false dollar amount until you generate over to QuickBooks. That's correct. So that is one of the, well, let's try something here. So let me record this because I was surprised to see that $300 in there initially. So let's come in and do okay, so if you, while you're recording times, do the material, it'll show it here. So you will get a more accurate view on the screen that there is going to be a charge and what that charge is going to be, even with the material added. So yeah, it does show that. But again, notice I I entered the material before I came back and saved it. So I entered the start and stop times. You can change the date, enter the material through adjust, and then save. And with that process, you do see what it is. Finalize it. Okay. Okay. So you're talking about talking to the folks over at Brookview. Open link in new tab. So come here. So what you're saying is in here, it would say 0. Okay. I will make a note of that. Okay. I'm making a note. So for okay, I made a note of that, so I'll bring that up with the powers that be here, so to see if that can be addressed. Okay. And then we did see what a sample invoice looked like. So not so much the QuickBooks version of it, but the general layout here. All right. Next, look at the job change. And that's where I kind of hit the rocks on yesterday. Okay, so job change. What this enables you to do, and it is similar to a feature that we had back in CLIPitc. So under patterns, you have pattern job changes here. And so you come in and you select the job that you want these job changes to apply to. And so yesterday, the job I selected was snow plowing. And then what I did was I would create a description here. So here's change name. So we create these names, a description here. You can edit the description and then you hit process. So I'll add another one in here. We will call this snow backhoe. And then we'll use the same description here. Okay. And then I hit process. And now that's added here and is associated with the job snow plowing. So here's where it's telling you the job. So within a customer, and one of the customers I have set up for this is Krieger. So we're going to come out of here and we'll look at Krieger. Alexandra, she's got multiple properties, so we got to figure out. This is her main account, so go to snow plowing. And within this account now, there is this job change option. So we click job change, and you come here, and we see the different jobs that are now available to be added. So I do 1 to 3 inches, and I'm going to do $35. Process. Then I do 4 to 6 inches. $70. And you can put in man hours too if you want to. And then we'll do 6 to 9 inches. $105. And we'll process that. Okay, so the logic is under patterns, pattern job changes, you find the job you want to do this with, and in that case it was the job snow plowing. And within that job, then we set up several different relevant price points based on the number of inches or based on the piece of equipment that might be used on any given visit. Having done that preparation work at the pattern level, you then add the job to the customer and come into job change to set up what you want within that customer for this. Okay, so this is set up. This is a zone job, and we'll do one other. So Adam's Candies here. Charge by job. Snow plowing. Job change. And you can repeat the same process. So we'll do it one more time. Oops. 40. I'll just do a couple of these because this is getting redundant. 80. Okay. Okay, so that's how you set it up at the customer level. Now, this isn't affected by the scheduling. So when you go ahead and do the scheduling, and we'll come back here to daily, and I'm going to do this over again because I want to make sure those changes are reflected. So I come to get work, and one thing you're able to do, so let's say that you've recorded a bunch of stuff and you've got garbage on here because you recorded the actual number of inches, so you have these other inch levels remaining here on the list. You can go to activate zone jobs, select the crew. This is going to be crew 50, and you hit deactivate, and now they're pulled from the list. Okay, how would you track the salt or bags of salt if using the job change options? I think that would be set. Okay, that's an interesting question. So we come back here to Adam's Candies, and here's the snow plowing. So we're doing the number of inches and such here. What you would do for the salt or sand, and let me see if I have some that's set up. Do I have? Yeah, sand and chloride. So I add the material, close. So now here's the material for that. So what we're going to do in a moment when we record this, we'll see how that looks. So let's come back here. So what we did was we deactivated the zone jobs. These are the ones that are date driven. Kreider, you pesky fellow, you're showing up here. Why is that? Well, we'll ignore that for now. So we'll go in, and now we're going to reactivate, and I can hit remove work to clear out everything. Except this. Oh, let me see that. Why is he hanging out there? Okay, just 50. Deactivate. Okay, remove work. All right, I'm not sure why Kreider is being stubborn, but that shouldn't affect what we're about to do. Okay, so now I'm going to come in here again. So activate zone jobs. Do it by crew number. So we do it by crew 50. And then we activate. And we say no this time. Okay, so we're going to go now to record work. So when you record work, we're going to record the Krieger and Adam's Candies. So we come in here, we hit the pencil, say yes here, and we start at 8:30. Got done at 8:51 on the 3rd. Yeah, that's good. So we save this. Then we go to Adam's Candies. This is where we have that material now. So we hit yes here. Oh, that's why Crider was still there. I didn't finalize them. Well, that was weird. Okay, so we do then 1140. Do 1700 to 1720. I come to adjust. And here's the sand and chloride. I hit edit. So the sand and chloride isn't tied to one particular number of inches. Now, obviously, the more you plow, maybe the more you would use of this. So the quantity that's actually used may depend on that. And I've got transfer and charge this price. So I hit save. I'll select item. Oh, QuickBooks. All right. So now we have the material calculated. And then we check the box here. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to check these off and we're going to finalize them. And you may be wondering, well, where does this change in the number of inches come in? Well, what you would do, you notice down here now, batches are created. And this is about to reveal a flaw in using the job change. So we come to batch 30 here, and these are the 3 jobs. Now notice up here, you can choose how many inches. So I'm going to choose 4 to 6. And so here's the job charge. Pay attention what happens to Krieger. Now, the reason Krieger shares twice is that Adams Candies is a property under that name. So hit apply changes. Oh, it only got one of those. So it did take that. And then we're doing the calculation for charge for Krieger or for Kreider based on the material. So I'll have to see why this one did not work. Let me come out of here. Go to jobs. Okay, so Krieger charge by job. Snow plowing. Oh, that's why I only had one set up in here. Okay. All right, so that's why it didn't. So my incomplete setup is what caused that. Go back. Now, we're finding you can use a back arrow sometimes to go back to where you were, and it can be more convenient. I think in the early days of the program, the back arrow didn't always take you where you wanted to go. But I can then manually come in and I can put in the charge for this. So for 4 to 6 inches for this is going to be $75. So you can do some editing here. Now, the reason I said this is the flaw, notice it's an all or nothing situation. You choose the inches, and then that's how it's applied to all the jobs here. And I think it was the, folks back at YardSmart, Colleen and company, who pointed this out, that this is a little cumbersome because you may have some of these customers in one area where you plowed 4 to 6 inches and other customers where it was only 1 to 3, and then this makes it a little more difficult to manage those exceptions. You'd almost have to choose the 1 to 3 inch ones, finalize them, go through this change process, and go back, finalize the 4 to 6 ones, and come back and do this. Which, all that to say, I lean toward recommending using the materials to track the different number of inches until we hope maybe by next season we can have a little checkbox here so you could then have the job change apply just to those customers who are checked, for instance. So you hit save charges here, and now that's how those will be built out for that. And that's how recording then the job change situations or examples work. You go through, you finalize them, then you go to the list of finalized work and apply the job change. Now, again, you may be in a situation where the inches are not necessarily measured at the actual location, but because you want to give kind of a common yardstick to everybody, you would say, okay, at the airport at that time. And then that would be a consistent, and you could change everyone accordingly. So depending on your circumstances, you may be able to use that job change more easily without having to worry about different people in the same batch having to be charged different levels than what you had available there. Okay, so let's look back and see what come back here. Okay, so job change. Now we're going to look at using the app. So, where's my app? I thought, oh, there it is. Okay. So here now is the app. Now, before we look at that, I want to go back in and just refamiliarize myself with what we can see on the app after having finalized some work. Okay. All right, we're going to use Crew 53 as an example here for the app. And if you're not familiar with the app, what we're looking at is the Android version here. And I apologize, this may be kind of small on your screen. So if that's the case, I'm sorry about that. What happens is your crew comes and they log in to this. And so we're going to change the crew number here. We're going to go to 53. Okay, now Bob Godfrey is the driver. This is his truck. He can see all scheduled, or he choose today's work. And then up here, I mean, this is where if you choose to, he can clock in and out. You can use him, use this for time clock purposes. So we've clocked him in. Come back out here to the settings, make sure everything is the way we want it to be here. And then we go to the truck. And the truck is showing 4 services: Clark Kent, Mickey Mouse, Marcus Mariota, and Rob Catalani. So we go to Kent first, click here. Okay, we got watch out for the dog. Let me go back, make sure, was that snow plowing there? Yeah, okay. Guess the dog gets out in the snow too. So we come to the Clark Kent. Here's the job, and we go ahead and we hit start the job. Now you can give him the ability, for instance, to look at the materials. If you do charge by the inch based on the materials, then you may want this entered by the truck driver, by the plow driver. Or you could, add this later after you get the information back from him. Now, if you're familiar with the app at all, you'll know you can come back here, look at record work mobile, and we want to go through. Got to set my date ranges. And my crew number. So here are the jobs. So we look and we see, okay, Clark Kent, they're in progress at his property. And then they finish. So you hit end. Then they go back and they go to Mickey Mouse. And hit start. Again, back to the office. You refresh this. And now you've got Mickey Mouse in progress. Okay, now we're going to speed through this because I want to show you the flexibility that you have in the app. Okay, so we end the job here. We go back and we go to the next customer, Marcus Mariota. Start. Stop. And then Rob Catalani. Start and stop. So back to the office. Okay, we see all of these are done. Now, let's assume it's 3 in the morning and no one's in the office to watch this. What we've done with the app is we come in here and we've enabled now the driver or the to come in to settings here, and he can finalize jobs. So he clicks finalize jobs, and this will finalize jobs done by crew 53 so they can be invoiced. So we're going to say, okay, finalize these. And then, now let me just play catch up here. So we hit change to view. And those jobs have disappeared because they've been finalized. But what the driver can also do is he can say reload route. And now here are those jobs. And he can reload them. Now he doesn't have to reload all of them. So if he knows that, whatever the reasoning is that he's not going to go back to say Clark Kent, he can then just cherry pick who he wants to reload. So he reloads these. Now we come back in the office, if we're hanging out here, change to view. And here now are those jobs. Now back in the truck, he's able to go back to the top of his route. So we're going to click back here, click on the truck, and here they are. And he just goes to Mickey Mouse again. Hit start, stop, and goes through his route a second time, and the third time and the fourth time as necessary. Now, the only kind of maybe problem with this process is the office doesn't get to review the work before it's finalized. So that means that if there were some problems with anything with the data, you can't fix it on the record work screen like you could before it's finalized. Okay. And also the batch is not created when work is finalized through the app. So what you would have to do if you wanted to do a kind of a review and then go to history to fix it, you would come to the reports page here and you'd get the job reports, daily work report for that crew, that truck. So we come here, the date's going to be today, and we're going to do crew 53, and hit show report. So now here are the jobs that were done. Now I haven't finalized those last few, so I could come here and I could look, say, okay, I want to include unfinalized work. So here's the jobs we finalized and then the ones we didn't. But this would then give the office a way to review and then, if necessary, go to the customer history to edit what needed to be fixed that otherwise would be edited on the record work screen. Okay, so the plow driver is saying enter it incorrectly or forget to add the materials. How are we able to fix these errors in the office? All right, so let me, All right, so let's say Clark Kent. We'll go to his. So you would say, Clark Kent, there's a problem. So you come to find customer, and you come to Kent, Clark double asterisk, come over here. So that it was a snow plowing job. So let's say there was a material they forgot to add. You could come in here. We've selected this particular visitor, could be another one for this. And you come down here. So here's where you could do pricing. Here's where you could, and also here's where you edit materials. So let's say he forgot to add the chloride. So now the material's added, or the times were incorrect. So you could come here and you could then edit. So you started at 11:49. You actually finished at 12:15. Update. So that's how you would fix it. Again, not quite as slick as fixing it on the record work screen, but it does save you getting up at 3 a.m. to reload the route for the crew if you're using the app. And then again, you can do other editings here as needed. All right, let me think if there's anything else about the app. So finalize, reload route. Just other kind of semi-related stuff with the app. If they are looking at the route, if they have it, they can come back and I wonder if they'll give me this. Yeah, optimize route. So that means they're able to make sure that their route is most efficient, especially if for some reason they have to skip a couple of properties. Okay, what's the most logical order from here on out then for the remaining jobs? Okay, now that gives us about the end of the time. Okay, so when you go to fix, is there a way you would know what to bill? I'm not sure of your question, so let's go back here. So here we're in this, we're editing. What's being billed is the job charge. So whatever is in this field is part of what will end up on the bill. Now in the material, if we edit, and if the material says this, then what will also end up on the bill will be that price per job. So if you go back here, that would be this amount here, 15 units times I forget what the amount was to get to the 120. The thing that isn't obvious is this one, the material. You have to click into it to see if you've got this transfer set up. Now, if your habit is to always transfer it, then it would be preset in the material itself or within the material for that job for that customer. So maybe that's not quite maybe it's easier to understand or to know that this is actually going to be billed than I'm letting on. You may not have to click in here to hit edit to see if it's transfer or not. Like a list of the job. Okay. Colleen, I think I'm not understanding your question. Maybe if you wouldn't mind maybe putting out a little more detail in an email and sending it to me, and we'll look at it tomorrow. And if I'm still not grasping it, we'll set up a phone call. But why don't you send me some more detail on that? Okay, are they able to switch to other routes in the app? There are many times when drivers help other routes. Great question. Yes. So we come back into the app, and so we finished 53. So he's going to go and help out crew 50. Now, this is a permission you would set up. So you hit snow here and then go to the truck. And he would then see work for crew 50. And what he can do is if he's going to do this one, he can actually change the crew. So he could reassign some of these to himself if you wanted to. So that's one way he could manage it. Just go into crew 50's work and change it. And now he would come back out and he would go. So this might be a little more cumbersome. There might be a little more navigating involved. But he'd be able to then see the job that had been on crew 50 is now assigned to himself for that. But yes, they are able to help out. The one trick to this, unless this has changed, which you don't think it has, if crew 50 is currently working on a property, he can't come in as crew 50 and start a new job. The first job would have to be paused or finished first. And yeah, it just makes a temporary change in the crew. So when the job reschedules, it will revert back to the original crew for that. Okay, let me look at some because I was talking about getting notifications for let me see what this looks like. Oh, okay. So this is what the email notification looked like. Just so you know, we're coming out to your property the following service. So when you may have remembered that when I went to activate the zone jobs, I got a message that some of those jobs had a pre-service notification tied to them. And did I want to send it? So I said yes. So this would have sent to the customer then the fact that we're coming out to do that via email. So that's what the pre-service, and then you could set up like a post-service notification to send an after-the-fact notice that you're out there plowing for that. Okay, we're going to call it a day. So tomorrow we'll focus on billing, and then we'll also the questions that I've received and any more that we will receive. So I'll try to, and plus it'll be much more open. I'll make sure no one will be muted, so we'll be able to talk to each other because you guys know much more about how you want things to be, and I can try to tell you whether CLIP can do it that way or not. So anyway, have a great afternoon, and we will talk tomorrow. Bye.